That's not my outfit.
It's Death by Monsters.
Welcome, you pack of rats.
Start off hot.
This is Death by Monsters, a show about monsters, mysteries, and the unknown. And I'm here with Sister Paula.
Hello. Oh, we were related all of a sudden.
Brother Nicholas.
Or are we just in the clergy together?
And my name is Pastor Ziggurat Sagittarius. Welcome to hell!
Where it's a cult now. I see what's happening.
Sorry, that's for something totally different. That's my other job. Yes, I thought cult would be fun.
Cult would be good.
I thought, let's do a cult intro. That's fun.
That's
Hey,
nice.
guess what, everyone? I'm going to say it. I don't know if you were already planning to say this.
I was hoping that no one would. Yeah, bring it up.
We are recording this podcast together in one room. I am looking at the faces of Matthew and Nick right now, which has never happened before while we were recording.
It's true.
And
Matthew is avoiding eye contact at any chance.
It's either going to be the best episode of the podcast or possibly the most awkward episode of the podcast.
Problem is that if it's the best, we can't do this every week.
That's the real
I
issue.
happen to be in LA. I mean, I'm not just happen to be in LA. I'm in LA to see you guys, but I just can't make that work unless marry me someone. That's all I need in my
Hi,
life.
everyone. I do have a PayPal account. If you would like to donate to the Get Matthew an immigration lawyer to move to Los Angeles, hit up our email, deathbymonsterspodcast@gmail.com. I will give you my PayPal information, and you can send that sweet, sweet money.
Or if you're single, you're
Sounds
alone,
like a-
you're feeling like a man. You feel like you need a man in your life with very long arms.
Hey, I'm in proportion with myself.
You let us know.
I'm
Green
all
card marriage, we're totally fine
human, baby. This week's show is about one of life's greatest mysteries.
Birth?
No,
I don't have something
Death?
witty. I'm sorry.
time travel suckers.
What is that tree? Is it grapefruit?
Yes, it's a grapefruit.
Okay, cool.
Do you want a grapefruit?
No, I was going to tie that into mysteries, and then I just got curious about the tree.
Fucking fantastic audio. Things that are specifically in this room.
Do you need to say it's about time travel again?
Time travel.
Did we talk over it and you aren't going to be able to cut out the grapefruit question?
I'm not going to be able to do much cutting in this whole episode. It's going to be great. As you say, it's either going to work or it's not. So, first question. I asked you about this before. I forgot to text you about this.
Great,
So,
it's fine.
you are
It's
left-
fine that you guys have been together and I've been in my own little place in the valley and that, you're talking about things and not letting me in on the conversation. It's fine.
You missed out on a treat because I've got some feelings about this episode, the research, and you didn't have to deal with me whilst I was doing the research.
It's true. I did. Many hours. He just coming. I hate this. I just get so upset all the time.
If you could go anywhere in time, where would you go?
Here's the thing. He texted me this question, and I completely forgot about it. And so I don't have a better answer. I am going to go. I really, really, really want to see the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. That's all. I
I feel like that's a better answer than mine.
I mean, I probably should have a better answer. It's just of the old wonders that aren't there anymore. That's the one I've always wanted to see the most. So my go-to answer is going to be that, preferably with some guy named Gary.
I love the fashion of the 1930s and 40s. So I would go back to the 1930s and 40s just because I want to wear all of the clothes.
Don't catch TB.
I will try very hard to not get consumption.
It was bad at that point. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have much in the way of rights. In fact,
Oh,
many
you would
people
not.
don't have much in the way of rights in the 30s and
Yeah.
40s. But I love just the Art Deco era, and I would probably want to go and just live in that for like a day.
That'll be enough because I imagine it doesn't smell great.
I mean, it smells
probably-
better than like the 1830s or 40s.
Yeah, it's
But
probably
like
way worse than we
70s
think.
New York.
Yeah. I mean, rough.
If I could travel back in time, I'd kill myself as a baby, obviously.
Stop.
Solid.
No.
I don't think.
No.
I mean, then you're opening up like a paradox thing,
Yeah, it'd
and
be
then we've
fine.
got like a whole
like what's that,
like
butterfly
the whole
effect? Is that what it's called?
Bad.
The worst part about that is I would cease to exist, and I'm fine with that. But if I go to any time, by extension, go anywhere in the world, because people do time travel. It's like you've decided to go to fucking Babylon. Mm-hmm. You'd be in LA still. It's not a spaceship. It's a time travel device.
It's not Doctor Who.
So we have to assume we can do all that as well. So
Yeah.
I would do numerous things. Although most of my reasons for going back in time do hinge on me also being the world's most desirable lover. Essentially, I want to go back and bang Jane Fonda when she was about 22.
Okay.
Is that weird?
Yes.
22-year-old
But I'm
Jane
okay with
Fonda?
it.
How
Barefoot in the
old are
Park?
you in this? I mean, I do love. I love Barefoot in the Park, but
One
for
of my-
Robert Redford,
It's one of
obviously.
I love it for Jane Fonda. It's one
Oh
of my
my
favourite
gosh.
movies.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited to find out. And one day I'm going to age out of it very soon. But I really want to be in a production of Barefoot in the Park.
Yeah, you'd be acing it.
Right?
You'd be great.
It'd be really fun.
I don't know what this is.
I really love knowing that that's one of your favorite movies.
I was hoping that this...
Con Air. Greatest movie ever made.
Time travel.
Just
I'd also
dead ass serious. I'd go back and audition for Con Air. You know what? Screw Babylon. I would try to get in the movie with Con Air. An extra. I don't even care. If I could be in the greatest movie ever made, yeah, that's my goal.
Okay. Well, you
don't
need
care
to
what
watch
it says.
Barefoot in the Park. It's fantastic.
No,
So I
Con
would also...
Air.
Although, being in that life... would
They're
be tough.
cons, and they're in the air.
I
Is
get
that
the premise.
really what that is?
That is what that film was
So
about.
it's just con men flying planes?
No, it's like they're convicts and they take over the plane.
Oh, they're convicts.
It's like peak Nick Cage doing the worst Southern accent in your entire life.
Well, that might be enough to ruin it for me
It's
because I'm very
great.
picky about
It's
fake
the best
Southern
movie ever
accents.
made.
He's in Raising Arizona, though, correct? I mean, he's got the, there's a choice for terrible. Anyway, we're not talking about Nick Cage.
Let's talk about Nick Cage.
Nick Cage later. But I would also go back to Giza. I'd like to see how the pyramids are built. That'd be pretty good.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'd enjoy that. I'd also like to go back to
Probably sad though,
Oh, terrible.
because you'd be like, "Oh, the work conditions here are just awful."
terrible. But I'd like to go back to the 1950s and do a bunch of mescaline with Jack Kerouac. That'd be great.
I figured you want to like visit like an old timey like opium den, you know?
I have mentioned I would love to just be in an opium den.
Yeah,
but
like
I
an
think
old timey one, you know?
that's at any time.
Is it not very feminist of me that like you guys are off to do like adventurous things and I just wanted to wear clothes?
No, because one of the parts of feminism is you get to choose whatever you want.
Thank you. That is so true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And it's
if you
my
want
right
be
to
like all into
choose.
clothes, do it. If you want to be all in adventure, do whatever you want. That's the whole point. You do you.
We could do it now. You could join the Art Deco Society of Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm
Nope.
sure. That's what I love. You also chose something you could do.
I have later. I'll show you. I have a bunch of vintage clothes.
Okay. I love how you chose something that you could definitely do now. Like you definitely could just wear those
They
clothes.
do a weekend on the Queen Mary. This is not podcast related, but you can go and you can just wear the clothes with a bunch of other people wearing clothes from
Yeah.
the 30s and 40s on the Queen Mary. So it's like you're back in the 30s and 40s.
So basically,
and
you
spend
want to
the
stay
weekend.
I'd rather be
in
on the
this
Mary
time
Celeste.
and just do that more often.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. We have 7-Elevens. They didn't have 7-Elevens back then.
We've had this conversation of how useful a 7-Eleven would have been. It's one of the greatest inventions of all time.
Right, at
So,
Roanoke.
in this lighter-hearted show, after the two-part hellscape of the Dyatlov Pass incident, we're going to be looking at those individuals that may or may not have crossed the final frontiers, reached out into the universe, looked into the eyes of God himself and said, "One time travel, please." There have always been those that have said that they are not from our time, or might be from our time, but not in our time, like back in time, that they're from the time, and it's in our time, but they're time travel. It's funky. In this episode,
all
we're
messed
going
up.
to be specifically looking at some of those chrononauts. And having a look, they can't see the little glass jiggle. And having a look and see what the future will hold. My guess, though, is everything will be better, but you'll also have to have it surgically implanted inside your body. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of give and take.
Yeah.
Does this include people who think they were like reincarnated and lived in another time?
No, but we're going to get to that at some
Yeah.
point on
Okay.
Death by Monsters. Let me tell you about
Okay,
that.
I was actually going to ask the same question.
Or someone who's like, my kid tells me about their past life all the time, sort of thing. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure that was not encompassed within this topic as well.
No,
Yeah.
this is specific. I mean, we talk about whatever the hell we want as our podcast,
true.
but this is specifically people who have said they have been to other times and they've come back, or they're from the future. And I've got some feelings about it because I admit that from our understanding of the universe and the laws by which it abides, time travel is essentially impossible.
Yeah.
As we don't have the materials or the technology to create the velocity needed to travel to the future. And to travel into the past still remains a fiction. Nick.
Wait, but if things aren't linear, things are stacked.
Oh, we're getting into it.
So, like, all you need to know is how to go up or down.
That's true, I think. I don't know enough about time. or science.
That's as technical as I can get in the stacked and up and down.
You said that with the confidence, though, that I
It was-
believed
it's
you.
very true.
Thank you.
So I'm not willing to say that time travel is impossible. Because, given enough time, surely we can invent anything.
Yes.
I like to think. It's a lot of fun to think about this quantum quandary. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Quantum quandary.
I love how pleased you were with that.
Oh, it's got the word quagmire coming up, baby. That if all time runs concurrently, perhaps time travel is as simple as slipping from our own veneer of vibration, as simple as, say, stepping into a Honda Accord.
Literally, basically what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I love that Honda
did it
Accord
again.
sponsorship's working out for us.
All that if time travel is ever to be possible, no matter how far in the future, by that metric, we would be just as likely to witness time travelers now as at any time. Or maybe the entire UFO phenomenon is simply the result of advanced and evolved humans travelling back to look at us dumb monkeys from 7 million years in the past. And because of these great theoretical quagmires, it's more alliteration, it gets all a bit more kind of philosophical rather than scientific. But there are those that say that they are not from our time yet walk amongst us. And they found their way to fucking YouTube, so I wrote a podcast about it.
Oh, yeah. That's what they do. They're like, let's go to YouTube.
Time travelers love YouTube.
They sure do. I feel like they would do something else, you know?
Yeah, if
Like,
if you've gone to the future, I don't even know, like, the world open up before you because
I was gonna
it's
say dinosaurs,
the
but that's
future.
the wrong way,
That's
but yes.
the
Yeah.
wrong
Be either
way.
Maybe they come back. Maybe we Jurassic Park that shit and they come back.
You just think they would talk to, like, the government and not, like...
Or, you know, you think they come back and be like, hey, like, this thing we're doing right here leads us to a path that leads to, like, the world ending from nuclear wars and stuff. Like, let's say, or maybe it's being like, hey, I'm going to go back and invest in Google on
Yeah,
the ground
right?
floor. You know,
Right?
just like, you think they do that. Instead, they're just like, I am from 2046.
We're getting into all this. The first cosmic wave rider, I had a bit of fun writing this episode.
Oh, I bet.
It's Alexander Smith, who is a man who claims to have travelled not only to 2118, there is a very
beautiful
large
butterfly.
moth.
Oh my gosh,
Is that a
that's
butterfly?
Butterfly. Is
so
that a moth? Look
pretty.
how
I'm
pretty it
normally
is.
up at night. They're always moths when I'm around. Not only to 2118, but also back home once more. Back to the past.
2118 isn't that far in the future.
Well,
I guess it's like 100 years.
it's almost exactly 100 years. It's 99 years, isn't it?
That
at this
is
point, yeah,
almost
at this
exactly
point.
100. Yes, 99 is good math.
I mean, but at the same time, like, it
I
could
said it your
smart.
way.
think
I'm
of how
pretty
much
smart.
stuff has changed in the last 100 years in terms of
Nothing.
like, technology. I mean, like, in 100 more years, things could be
That is a really good
drastically
point.
different. Like 1700 to 1800, not that much different. But like, you get
1800s to 1900s, the Industrial Revolution.
yeah, it's massively
And
different.
then you
so,
even like, there's a whole reason that a generation is called like the millennials themselves. Like you fall into that generation because like suddenly your life is defined by using the internet.
Yeah.
And just the generation before that was like, what?
I won't
I
use
have
it.
a landline,
I
you
don't
know?
trust the internet. I won't use it.
that's,
The
right,
government.
that's why we're on the internet right now.
I will also start this off, and I'm not normally the person who wants to malign the physical appearance of another human. Mainly because I'm at best interesting looking. But Alexander Smith looks like that was your turn to say, Matthew, you're not just interesting
No,
looking. It's
go ahead,
fine.
continue.
No,
I
fuck both.
thought
No, it's
we
too
didn't
late.
want to make this podcast about like patronizing you and the way you look. I think you know you're better than interesting looking.
Thank you. I'm cutting that bit out. It's too much. But Alexander Smith looks like he looks like he stared directly into a nuclear blast, but was standing just far away enough that it only
He
melted his skin.
Looks to me like he's got bad prosthetics on.
Yeah, 100%.
Like he's like in a mask. We were just looking at it,
Yeah.
and like his mouth isn't even really
His
properly
mouth
moving
doesn't
with his.
articulate at all.
I'm not even sure that that's the voice that was coming out of his body
It's
when
a
he was
14-year-old
taping.
boy
Like
in a
it's
suit.
like 80 yard. Yes, it's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. I'm like, you're just this other dude. You're in the shittiest suit from like the early 90s.
That's
like,
what they all dress like in the
oh my
fucking
God.
year
It looks like
2118,
he
son.
put a potato sack, like a burlap sack, over his head, and then it caught on fire, and all it fused together.
He looks like
That's
his
what
dad.
he looks like.
He looks like his dad ran away and only left behind the worst suit he owned.
Or it's like if someone, it's like if aliens saw like a really beat up Cabbage Patch doll, and then said, "This is what people's heads look like," and then just kind of made it okay.
That
and
is actually very
right.
Yes, that's
it looks
a
like
very
he
good
looks like an angry
description.
baby.
Hey, before we... Yeah, he does. He looks like,
He looks like an angry
But before
baby.
we talk about how much we don't probably believe what Alexander Smith says, let's see what he does say. Alexander Smith's story, as he tells it, starts in the year 1981. Raiders of the Lost Ark was in the movies.
Huge.
The
It's the loudest
DeLorean
shit.
car hits the road for the first time, and everyone thought Margaret Thatcher might not be the Antichrist. How wrong we were.
How wrong we were.
Smith had previously been working for the CIA, but was, at the time of his adventures, working as a car repairman. He had been sitting at home with his wife, watching TV, when two men in black type characters knocked at his door and ordered Smith to go out with them, bundling him into a car.
Get out! Come into this car with us.
Okay.
I'm here with my wife, watching TV. I won't go outside.
I'm going to take a very long time, repeat myself over and over again, and say very little in a very 22-minute video.
Once you've been to the future, time loses its meaning, which means, like, why hurry?
Oh, like someone who's enlightened.
Why say anything with any kind of pacing?
It's like trying to hurry Eckhart Tolle up. Sometimes you just think, totally, mate, get to the end of your sentence.
Dude, if you're trying to tell a BS story, look at how a good orator tells a story.
Don't waste my time
this-
twice.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, this guy's so terrible. Also, why would he pick a name like Alexander Smith?
During
you
the
couldn't
ride.
have found a better name than Alex. When you're making this garbage up, you couldn't have found a better name than Alexander Smith.
I'm literally going to get into that at some point. During the ride, the CIA spook sons of whores told the Smith to put on a blindfold as he was transferred from car to helicopter, where he was taken to an underground secret military establishment.
Wait, they used a helicopter to take him underground?
Yeah, I realise that the wording I've used here just makes that sound bizarre, but I imagine...
That is just added to the list of weird government conspiracies. Helicopters that go underground.
Give that helicopter pilot a freaking raise, because that dude or lady is a champion, just going straight down. That takes some serious guts.
All good points being made around the table. He was, from that moment on, to be part of a project that tested the limits of space and time itself. And Smith, having signed documents during the 70s to be part of such experiments, was obligated to oblige. His time
Wait, come back to that.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
What?
He was in the military in the 70s, and he signed the thing saying, yeah, I'll take part in your tests. And they said, look, Smithy, baby, your time's come.
Time to cash in on that.
Cash in.
Make a dark pact with someone at some point. The devil comes a-knocking.
That's why I was trying to
true.
invoke Satan in your attic earlier before we did this podcast.
She wouldn't let us. So rude.
I
You
don't
were-
like it.
No, you weren't cool about
that
it.
This is the topic that makes me actually uncomfortable.
That's
This is
true.
an angel house, so it's all fine.
I-
We're going to get into that. Home Strange coming soon.
Foreshadowing.
His time had come to enter the weird time travel cube thing, and in his own words, he was in shock.
I would assume.
But he wasn't surprised, he says.
Wait,
Which
shocked, but not surprised.
I
Shocked.
wasn't surprised.
But I wasn't surprised.
I
How
can't
can you be
reconcile.
shocked but not surprised?
Aren't they the same thing? Isn't one just like a more violent version of the other?
Yes, like that makes no sense.
Unless he meant electrically shocked. Like they gave him electrical shocks.
I would find
and
that
he wasn't
very
surprised
surprising.
about
That's like
it.
saying I'm hot but not warm. Like they're
In
one
that
is a
sense,
more
you
extreme.
mean I'm good looking, but of a comfortable temperature.
Exactly.
See, that makes sense. That's how I feel. Never.
Yeah, because you're always either cold or.
I'm always
Dead.
cold. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Paula. You're
welcome.
kind. During that, but he wasn't surprised, as he'd been aware during his time with the CIA that they had developed high technology in the past, and even things like modern smartphones, according to Smith, had been developed at least 30 years before their release.
iPhones, really?
It's the plot to Men in Black.
They already had like the boomerang app
They've been TikToking at the CIA for decades.
with the YouTubes and stuff, you know?
Hit or miss. I bet they never miss. What are you doing, Kevin? Get out of there. The scientist, as I put that in quotes for some reason, the scientist,
Dude, that's a sick burn right
The
there. That's a
scientist.
freaking subtle ass burn.
as Smith refers to him, proceeds then to tell him that he had been chosen to become the first test subject for their time machine. And there was a high probability of him either dying or, arguably more terrifying, being stranded. And that he did not retain the right to opt out.
This is just like an episode of Doctor Who I just watched. You get stranded in another time, and you just live out your life in this other time period. And all those people ended up pretty happy, but also their life energy was kind of drained of them, and those weeping angels got it all.
I think I'd be happier to be stranded in the past. No, I don't know.
Don't blink. Doctor Who reference.
I was like, that must be a Who reference because I don't.
Would you rather be stranded in the past or the future?
Future. The past, not
don't
that I
know.
know what happened in the past completely, but like I have a rough idea. I'd rather be in the future, it'd be more interesting.
My thyroid doesn't work, so if I was stranded in the past, unless I was like going around ripping people's thyroid glands out and eating them once a month,
No.
I would die.
Is that actually how you get sent, like, from your universal healthcare system? In Britain, you get sent other people's thyroids and then you eat them once a month?
Well,
There's
no,
some
it's
pill
just
form.
I've just given it some thought that if I was ever stranded, I would have to start vampirism. Like, I'd have to start killing people.
I think that there isn't any real functional difference between being stranded in the past or the future. I'm still somewhere that isn't my time, and I don't know exactly what my experience is going to be like. So it's 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other, as far as I'm concerned.
Or those sex robots in the future. So I'm opting future.
See, that's the same reason why I would choose future. One, sex robots. Two, it's like because if it's more or less gonna be equal, like I'm not gonna know what's going on. I'm not gonna fit in. I might as well go somewhere that's like more interesting or has stuff that like because we go back to the 50s. They're like we have color TVs, and I'm like okay. Cool.
No, I guess that's
You know, it's like I'd rather go somewhere where stuff's going to be interesting and new.
you would find yourself and you're like, wow, all this lack of technology is actually filling me with a great sense of peace.
For
I'm
sure.
present. I'm connected to the people around me. I'm enjoying nature before it was destroyed by all of our gas guzzling vehicles. Maybe it would be better.
That would be interesting. It would be interesting to go so far back in the past before really any kind of humans and just seeing like what the world.
You want to go
nature,
to before humans?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Crazy.
So
Who are you going to talk to, idiot?
he did not retain, Alexander Smith we're talking about, everyone, time travel, did not retain the right to opt out as he had signed up in the 70s to test advanced technologies. Let me tell you the big takeaway from this whole thing is firstly, you should probably stop smoking crack.
Me?
Everyone. Alexander Smith
Everyone.
specifically. And also, do not sign anything unless you've read the whole thing. Just don't. Read the entire document.
It's like signing up for a new iTunes account. It turns
just
out
like,
that like
whatever.
you're just agreeing to wherever.
Otherwise, you might have signed up for any number of bizarre and possibly sexy CIA tests.
That's
Well,
true.
if they're sexy, though.
But my thing is, it's like if this is not like, hey, we're gonna inject you with something, see what happens. Like that, I totally see them grabbing like some random dude who like signed a paper back in the 70s, right? But this is like some big like. This is like someone going to Mars for the first time, you know, kind of, it's a big old thing. Like we're sending someone to the future for the first time. Why would they randomly pick some Cabbage Patch Head baby dude from some random place? Why wouldn't they use like one of their agents
Because
who like
they don't
knows
know
what's
if
happening?
he can get back or not. This test was only to see, one, if it would kill him, or two, if he could get back. They didn't need him to do anything there, and so they're not going to risk their best
I
person
don't know.
sending someone thinking maybe they aren't going to come back.
They got someone they can sacrifice who'd be willing to go. Not every Jeff at the CIA is not great.
He hates life and he hates
You know,
being behind
it's like
the
they
desk.
can find someone who's like, I'm willing to do it. It's the same to me. It's like of like big straight space travel. The people who go are probably gonna be like, yeah, we're probably not coming back, or there's a very big chance they're coming back. But I want to do it because then I'll be the first person who went to Mars. I feel like they would find someone at the CIA who's like, yeah, you know, even if I go there and then my ass is on my head instead, and then my elbows are in my knees, you know, just something happens in time travel. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, like something went wrong.
Yeah,
with
it's like,
the,
but you know what?
Oh, it's coming up, baby!
It's like, but at least I'm the first
the
person who did
molecules
it.
didn't get put back
Like
together
my
properly.
legacy is complete. Yeah, you know, his eyes are in his nose.
So,
Wait, I had a thought. Isn't this exactly how Captain America was created?
no idea.
Isn't
Kinda.
this exactly how Captain
Kinda.
America? For the audience at home, I went from looking at Matthew to switching to Nick.
Yeah.
Isn't this exactly
Matthew
how
just
Captain
blank
America
stared, and then she looked at her like,
was created?
let's go to the other nerd in the
I
room.
don't know
Yeah.
how I don't know superheroes.
He was in like the military, right?
Yeah,
or
in
he
the
just
40s.
signed up for. Maybe he was in the military. He was this
was.
small, scrawny guy, and he signed up for like he was like, sure, I'll do this government experiment.
like this super
and then
serum
he
stuff, yeah.
became
Then became Captain America, and then
Why
he got frozen
didn't
in ice for a while, and then
Alexander Smith become Captain America.
instead they made him a weird angry baby.
They did. So, after a vigorous and extensive afternoon of meetings and preparation, he's ready.
Matthew's getting choked up. It's such an emotional story.
And after one last threatening conversation about secrecy and the confidential nature of his endeavour, Smith is ordered to dress in a radiation suit which included a large metal helmet. He's laid out on a stretcher and inserted face up into a slot, or as I like to call it, time hole. And after 5 minutes, the machine goes from pitch black to blinding white, causing Smith to fade out of consciousness, only to awake on a hospital bed. But that wasn't the hospital bed in 1981. Oh no.
It sounds like he just got abducted by aliens, not actually time traveled.
His first hint that things might have just gotten a little bit spooky was that in this hospital room, his glass coffee table was seemingly floating in place 2 feet off the ground.
Of course.
Why?
And again, I can't stress this enough.
I'm
Because they
not
can in the
moving
future?
to get my coffee. I want like coffee now.
I can't stress this enough. Do not smoke crack. Next, a nurse enters the room who tells him that he was found on the side of the road. So Smith, having just seconds ago told the CIA that he would agree to this top secret time mission, immediately tells a nurse that he was part of a top secret time mission.
It checks out.
And that he was from 1981, to which she replies,
You're crazy.
Cool.
It's 2118. And Smith's like, 20 past 9? That's crazy. It's been like 4 hours. And she says, no, not like 20 past 9.
Oh, I see what you
You
did.
fucking dum-dum. It's the year 2118. And you, sir, have travelled to the goddamn future.
she just accepts this.
I don't think I added some, I've added some text.
She's like, you, sir, have traveled to the future. It's like, do you know me?
I
No.
don't think that's what she actually said. She was like, hi, let me go get a
Orderly.
psychiatric ward.
Yeah,
We're just
exactly.
doing an evaluation. Let's bring in, we'll have you like draw some pictures, look at some ink blots.
So, in an attempt to relax, he decides to watch some future television. And as he flicks over to the news, the date's confirmed to him. It's November 17th, 2118. And he also makes it very clear that everyone at the hospital thought he was crazy.
Also, no one's watching television in the future. It's all streaming.
It's inside your eyeballs. Yeah, come on.
Come on,
How does...
Flaw number one.
But
Yeah.
people telling Alexander Smith that he's crazy is a problem I imagine Alexander Smith's had to deal with for his entire life. So he notices a chip in his arm and some more futuristic TV stuff, and then he goes on to talk about how the elevator he was used was pretty normal. And which is interesting because according to Alexander Smith, elevators have evolved to their peak. We've peaked, elevators are never getting any better.
Coffee tables float.
They're gonna float.
Elevators.
Elevators
We're-
still used
we're good.
with cables.
You know what? Can I just say real quick that I really appreciate Matthew using our way of saying elevators that Nick and I knew,
Yeah,
and that
what
all
the-
of our American listeners would know
What
what he
garbage
was
you were
referring
saying.
to.
There is definitely a skew. We have more American listeners than anything else.
It's true.
He got in a lift.
Yeah. Gosh. Lift is a fair word, though, because they are lifting you.
No, let's go on about it.
No, so elevators have reached their peaks with like cables, and yet there's floating
I
coffee
don't
tables.
think he took the elevator apart. I think he just got in and pressed a button and went, "Oh, that's the
no,
same."
but like if we have floating coffee tables, why don't we have like floating boots that you don't even need
floating
elevators.
boots.
You don't even need elevators. You can just go like, oh, I'm on the balcony. I'm just gonna walk off and just keep walking and just go down and hit the ground slowly.
When?
You got
When
so
would you
upset
need that?
about floating
At
boots.
all the time. Why would you not need that? It'd be so great. You're on top of a roof or something. you know?
Why? Why are you on a roof?
Because you have floating boots, so you could get on top of the roof. Why wouldn't you go up there?
I have to
And then-
assume
no,
the
you're-
novelty.
You're up in
will
a
die
sexy
off.
ass high rise in the middle of Chicago or New Chicago, whatever we're calling it. You're in a sexy ass high rise. You're like, oh, I got to go to work. I got to go to space work and do whatever.
And
I
you
need.
just walk in a
You
straight line over buildings.
You open your door. You go, doors open, and the doors open, and there's no railings, obviously, because
I
you have
love how
fancy
belligerent
boots.
the future has become.
Yes, exactly. I assume people just become the douchier versions of themselves.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
Because you know how people like just yell at waiters and waitresses all the time? It's like that, but now with like coffee tables. And they just keep walking, and he just walks off his balcony and just keeps walking, and he just slowly floats down. But elevators are still a thing? Sure.
Eventually, there was like 3 more stories to get through. Eventually, Smith leaves the hospital through what he describes as glass sliding doors, but I would just describe those as doors, and enters the cityscape, which he describes as being
They
district.
open when you walk towards them. We
was
have that
magic.
technology. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is pissing me off.
He describes being in District 508 of the Yarvis Empire.
What? Again, he was abducted by aliens, clearly.
The buildings are tall and glass, taller and glassier than any he had seen before. There are humanoid floating robots, and the cars were floating, the buses were floating.
Elevators.
I think this
peak.
guy's idea of the future is everything just fucking
He's just
floats.
hallucinating.
He walks up
For
to
sure.
a random guy on the street, and again, ignoring the one thing the CIA told him, he tells this poor random man that he's a time traveler and that he is from the year 1981.
CIA made such a mistake. If this is true, then the CIA, you fucked up.
Yeah, again, why
I
would you
mean,
pick
let's face
this
it, that's
guy?
not the first time, but
Also, like, why would the first thing you say to all these people be like, I'm from the past, man. Like it's like when someone says like,
Who am I?
yeah, it's like if someone says like, hey Nick, and I don't know who they are. I don't go like, who are you? I go like, oh, hey man, because
Hey, how are
it's
you?
like social
it's so
norms.
good to see you.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't do that. You would just go up and talk to people and then maybe slip that in. Like it.
Yeah, well, the person isn't phased at all by this stranger who's saying he's from the year
Checks out.
whatever, 20. It's all
1981.
lies. He says He says, when was time travel invented to this person on the street? And I says, well, time travel was invented in 2028. Easy.
Oh, so it's normal. So that's why no one's freaking out, because to them it's normal. They all do it.
Earlier in the story, he just was saying that the people in the hospital were freaking out. It's
That is
calling him
true.
crazy.
They all
There's some
thought he was crazy.
glaring holes in this story.
I'm.
Because I can wrap my head around that. Like, yeah, no, we have time vacations. We go back in time, you know. And
You're
and
about
go-
to see exactly this. He does what any normal time traveler would do, and I think we can all relate to this. He goes and talks to a robot.
Yeah,
These
I would.
These robots, according to Smith's description, look exactly like humans, only they don't have legs and they just kind of float.
So not like humans.
Everything is floating.
I can't. Okay, that's okay. Let's just hear the rest of it. I can't.
So we're close to the end of this one. So he asks the robot, how can I time travel? And the robot says, no problem. Time travel, you say? Well, that's nothing but a trip to the time travel agency. And Hans Smith...
At least
real?
it's regulated.
This
Did
is
you
the
make this up, Matthew? This is legitimately what this man has said. This
I'm
is
not
his
happy
story.
to say that this is real. But this is the story according to Alexander Smith.
Alexander.
Basically, he goes to time travel agency. This robot gives him a phone. He goes to the time travel agency using GPS, and then he says, one time travel, please. That costs $457. He hands the clerk some of his old time money from the 1980s.
He just had $500 on him.
Well, the CIA, according to him, gave him $50,000.
What the?
But
If this is
of
true,
new
then the
money?
CIA is the most incompetent organization. Oh my gosh, just saying that they're
Just-
now tapping us because we've said
just
CIA
don't tell anybody
so
that
many
you're from the
times.
future. Just don't tell anybody.
But he
from the
arrived
future.
in the
You're fine.
future in a cube, and he goes back to the past in a prism, so that we know at least time travel machines will upgrade by at least one dioptric plane, which is pretty exciting.
But
That
elevators,
checks out.
they're the same.
But elevators are fun. He then goes unconscious, wakes up on the streets of Los Angeles, which is frankly how a lot of benders end.
right.
And he hops on a plane back home, and that's that.
And I've kept this from my wife
I
for
kept it.
27 years.
I don't believe that. That really is the most unbelievable part of the story, because he just immediately spilled the beans to everyone he interacted with in the future. But he kept that experience a secret for 20 years from when he got no way. He told if this was true, he told everyone.
Also, like the CIA apparently just doesn't know that he's back. I understand he wouldn't go to them because he wants to hide from them, but like they're the CIA.
I could argue that he's wearing a weird mask and stuff on purpose, and that's not his real appearance.
Yes, yes, because he wants to hide his identity.
Right?
That's a way to get
I would
noticed.
like to posit that Alexander Smith is the definition of an unreliable narrator.
I thought you were going to say schizophrenic. There is a thing, it's like, it's fun to have a joke about people saying time traveling and stuff, because I personally do believe that I believe that time travel could be possible in the future, meaning it is already something that's happening.
Sure.
Just by the nature of time travel.
Yeah.
I think the limits of the human mind aren't constrained enough. I think time travel, why not? But I don't think Alexander Smith's a time travel. No, sir.
I do not think so either. No.
I think you're more likely to just like accidentally slip into a different dimension than go and be employed by the CIA.
Like what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke.
Lizards.
Pigman.
It might have been just lots of little lizards.
What if it's all Pigman in the
Just
future?
carried them away like ants.
What is happening?
So, okay, real quick. So, say you're in the same boat. You go 2118 or whatever. What's the first thing you do aside from telling everyone you're from the past? Like, legit. What's the first thing you would do? What's the first thing you would try? Like, would you talk to a robot first? Would be the first thing you do?
Oh no, because robots.
No, robots in the future are probably like waging a war against
I would
us.
assume
is
so.
what I've been taught by most sci-fi.
I'd like to think that robots in the future would at least be dicks about rules.
Just as real rules lawyers.
Like
yeah.
real like dicks.
Like, you can't do that. That's against
Protocol 18 of the Jarvis Empire.
Of the Jarvis Empire.
I think I would try to figure out what the food situation
I would
is.
eat something right away. That's
What's
the first thing I would
food
do.
situation?
I would go find like the
Is there any snacks?
the general fast food. That's what I would find.
The next chrononautical time tripper is Michael Phillips. Michael Phillips claims to have
Again.
been born in the year 2043. And according to Phillips, he, at the age of 18, joined the British military. Which is the first red flag, because even the most sceptical doomsday cultist will tell you that the chances of Britain having a military in like 2061, and that military not being just a subsidiary branch of Pixar, slim to none. We're going down. And it's happening fast. Michael, much like Alexander, is taken to a secret MOD base called Boscombe Down, which is a legitimate military air testing site in Wiltshire. And I'm not going to get started on the weird and freaky cool-ass guy stuff that happens there at Boscombe Down.
Boscombe Down.
Phillips is taken into a room. And in that room, anybody?
A cube?
Ooh, I'm going trapezoid.
Spheroid, suck it, cubes.
No corners in that one.
No corners to be seen. Phillips' first mission was to 2138, a world not like our own. He describes it as polluted, where people have become tribal, and all in his own words, it wasn't a very pleasant place to be.
Wait, he went to 2138?
2138?
But he came from 2160. Wait, what year
He
did he
was
come
born in 2043.
from? Okay, so then he went forward.
Then he went forward,
Okay.
but he's also been back
Okay, great.
to upload to
He's in-
YouTube.
But he came back to not where he's from, but earlier.
There's so much going on.
There's not YouTube then.
he had to go back to when YouTube was in its golden age so that his video would get more views.
That's true.
That's a good
I
point.
mean,
That's
if you could go
smart.
back, I changed my answer. I go back in time to like 2008 and upload my web series then
Yeah,
to
you'd be
YouTube.
massive. Yeah, you'd be
There you
massive.
go. Massive.
Wonderful plug as well, by the way, there.
You don't know which web series I'm talking about. I've made a lot of internet content that no one has watched.
You know,
I
that's everyone,
would
though.
enjoy that for an evening, just watching that all in its entirety.
Okay, maybe I'll link you to it later.
Well, here's the thing. I could want to say Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps
Michael Phelps is a mutant.
is from 2138, right?
2043.
No, but that's where he went to. Is
Oh, yeah,
2138.
you went to 2138, just
So
like
here's the
any
thing.
other
Alexander
person.
Smith went to 2118. Maybe in the 20 years since Alexander Smith came there and screwed everything up, it made everyone go into like existential crises and stuff like that. And they're like, well, there's this weird angry baby walking around. Like, what's going on? And then in that 20 years, everything starts crumbling and failing.
I'll be honest, he sounds like he's just describing LA now. He describes.
Okay, well,
He then describes 2075, which he defines as his own time. And his main takeaway is that global warming is going to fucking blow.
I mean, yeah.
And that we might want to do something about that if we have
well,
a
at
chance.
least he has a good message.
It's a message of hope.
You know, like, hey, no one's listening about climate change. I'm going to say I time traveled and then come back so that I can try and get people to say, this is what's going to get people to take climate change seriously.
I would.
That's actually not a terrible thing, because he's got a message of hope, because then he has to say some things that get a bit heavy and they get a bit difficult to talk about. And I do want to warn both of you now, and anyone still alive listening, that Phillips has a warning about, you know, that limited nuclear exchange that happened in March 2019, we all remember?
Yeah.
And that when North Korea attempted to blow up Hawaii, we all remember this.
Always.
That happened. We all remember this. And then, you know, when we blew North Korea out of existence, we remember that. And that started World War III. We remember this, don't we?
Yes.
What?
Tough
You know,
time.
World War III, of course, this is a war that will last 3 years. China and Russia will be banding together against the UK and the US. A swift and brutal war that will include battlefield tactical nuclear strikes. And then, let me tell you about things. They're about to get even worse. LA's hit by the event of the biggest event in history.
The big one.
It's called the big one. Literally written down the big one.
It's an earthquake.
Yeah, 10.2 magnitude.
If you were here more, you'd know that everyone refers to it as the big one.
big
It's
one.
the thing that we're all in LA worried constantly about
Especially because
happening.
we've had there's another earthquake today. Like, we've had a lot of earthquakes.
Last night, this is a side note, when I was streaming, something happened and like my whole room shook.
That's
And
an
I went,
earthquake. You're describing an earthquake.
well, it might have been many of the earthquakes I felt have been like, oh, it's like a car just hit something, and that was it. So that's kind of what I thought. I was like, did a car hit something outside? It was very strange.
Are
Or
you
like
all-
anyway.
You need to worry about Yellowstone blowing up. That's going to kill everyone. So,
That'll kill everyone in the world, so that's great.
no, it won't. But you're screwed. There'll
So,
be nuclear winter. So,
10.2 magnitude
oh yeah,
earthquake.
California lowers by 10 feet and sinks and
well.
floods. Gone. In other future
It
news,
was nice while it lasted.
well, it was fine. In other future news, Trump gets 2 terms, but is impeached while attempting to run for a 3rd. And unfortunately, Oprah doesn't manage to get elected as Michael McIntosh is your future president. But it's not all bad, because humans are going to Mars. Elon Musk takes SpaceX to the Red Planet in 2032.
These are all things that, what is this guy's name?
Michael
Phillips?
Michael Phillips.
Michael Phillips. This is all things that Michael Phillips has said.
He's predicting all these things.
Happens.
He's been wrong
When-
about the North Korea problem, but other than that,
When did he make these claims?
time is so elusive.
1952.
But it's
surprisingly.
recently on YouTube.
Great.
We're going to have a lunar and Martian base. That's pretty cool.
Cool.
Fun.
yeah.
Excited. He also popped along to the year 2432. Some interesting things. Pollution's all cleaned up, so I guess
Well, that's good.
we can just do whatever we want at this
That's
point. now.
nice.
Yeah.
That's like a free ticket for humanity to do anything we want, because in 2432 it's going to be fine. Everyone's friendly, everything flies again, everything floats, and everyone speaks English.
As they
Yes.
should.
Why does everything always float in the future?
I don't
Do we
fucking know.
want floating things?
I don't
that
think we
badly?
need
I do not
floating
want
things.
anything to float. I do not want it.
I mean, it'd be cool to have a flying car, but I don't really care. Like, I don't have like teleportation. Everything always floats in the future.
I get nervous on a roller coaster. I feel like I would feel the same in a flying car. Like I don't want it.
I remember the first. I don't remember it because obviously it happened many. Well, maybe I was there. But when people first got on trains, they were scared that the trains would be. They were like going 20 miles an hour. People were scared that humans would just liquefy at 20 miles an hour.
That's fair.
Mm.
So we did all right. Phillips has been all over the place in his Sphere, a machine that runs on 2 joule micro singularities and tears open a distortion via gravimetric forces in time-space. And then he's off. Essentially, Phillips' account incorporates the Roswell crashes, as he said, and he describes those as time crafts and not spacecrafts. He then goes on to talk about it in a roundabout way, the Philadelphia experiments as being time ship test flights that went wrong. And let me tell you, this guy spends almost as much time on YouTube as I do. And that's not a good thing. Also, time travel is officially invented in 1975. So,
Oh,
So we could be doing it now.
we could be on here every
We're
day.
way behind.
people are. We're just not cool enough.
We're not in with the government enough, apparently.
We got to sign a paper, and then the CIA will come talk to us.
Oh,
at
they'll
some
come get
point.
you.
Yeah.
They'll come get you. Andrew Carlson.
Andrew Carlson. I'm just saying it so I'll remember it in a
The
minute.
dumbest names. Like, be something
This
cool.
is just
like
someone's real name,
But,
Nick.
like,
What,
be
Nick
s-
Murphy is so great a name?
No, it's not. They should be named like Thunder McScruggins or something. Something freaking sexy
McScruggins?
like that. Like
I would not have sex with someone named Thunder
Thunder.
I
McScruggins. I'm
would.
just putting it out
I
right
I
now.
would. I was going to put out there like
Just
yeah.
like an Amy. That's what you really need in life.
No.
Just like...
No. Thunder McScruggins, that's a winner. That's a person
It's
who
a
can
little
travel
too close to
time.
Doc McStuffins, and it makes me a little uncomfortable.
I do not get that reference.
I realized
Neither
that
do I, but
this
it was
audience
funny.
was not the.
Please take us on this road.
Paula's got another thing. She's...
Take us down this road, Paula.
It's just a kids show.
Oh, okay.
It's like a kids animated show. It's like on Nickelodeon or something, Disney maybe, and it's just about a little girl who like pretends to be a doctor, and she like all of her little stuffed animals are her. Anyway, it's cool. It's very empowering for young girls.
Well,
Doc
I'm all for it
McStuffins.
then
That
in
is
that
nice.
case.
That is
But
nice.
If you
also,
knew people with kids, I don't know.
I have a niece. She's the love of my life.
Then why don't you know what Doc McStuffins is? What kind of uncle are you, Matthew? If you don't know what Doc McStuffins is for your niece.
Are you doing my bit?
Yes,
Good lead.
I
back.
did.
That's
Thank
nice.
you.
Yeah.
I did. I was hoping that you would notice.
I did immediately. The next tale of time I have for you is all about the Wizard of Wall Street himself, Andrew Carlson. For those who don't know, firstly, I envy you because I do know. I know all about it. And I wish I could have. That's the real time travel or the time wasted.
Yes.
Your brain one day is going to be so full of random
Shit.
monstery stories.
Yeah, that's
mysterious
accurate.
stories for this podcast. You aren't going to have anything left over for anything else.
I believe in a lot of things. I truly believe in Bigfoot.
We know.
Yes.
But these people are lying on the internet, and it really. I was doing the research for this. I was like, this would be a fun, like, wacky little
why not?
episode to do. I had the worst time researching this. I was like, I had to watch these. Oh, God. Anyway.
You had to watch so many.
In January 2003, 44-year-old Andrew Carlson turned up at the stock exchange scene with nothing but $800 in a pocket full of dreams.
Pocket full of dreams.
And he did what anyone would do. He made 126 high-risk trades over 2 weeks and never lost.
What? Is that real?
He turned $800 into $350 million.
This is the real time traveler.
And when he was finally arrested by the FBI, who thought they were going to bust open a huge insider trading fiasco, well, they, to put it lightly, were somewhat perplexed when, throughout the course of a 4-hour confession, Carlson told everyone he was definitely a time traveler and he's come from the future. And that's how he
saying
knew
what I was
This is
saying.
the one I believe. This is it. Andrew Carlson. This is the one I believe so far.
Okay, so I need to stop now and tell you about the awe-inspiring power of cocaine. The feds caught up with him and he told them a story about how he'd come from the year 2256 back in time to play the stock market game, which we'll ignore is not the best, safest, or smartest way to make money for a second.
Also, it's probably not going to be worth as much when you get it back to your own time
Compound
period.
interest.
You know? Well, inflation. Like $5 a long time ago was like worth something, and now it's just like $5.
Yeah.
Have you got? I'll have $5. If everyone's got $5,
$5, please. Thank you.
I'll take it. But you are correct.
I'll give you $5 if you need it that
no,
badly.
I don't.
I'll give it to you.
I'm in LA. I've managed to at least afford to get here.
You'll be fine.
You can't afford anything else now that you're here because it's stupid. Well, it's okay. We don't need to talk about LA. Let's keep.
Hey,
on
we're
it.
cool. So, all of the other big podcasts talk about LA. We might as well. And by other, I mean, we're not. I don't include us there because no one listens to this. Hi, rates and reviews. Great, thank you.
Please.
Those of you who have
rate us
already
on-
left us a review on iTunes, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
I'm against it.
Make sure
I'm
to
not.
tell a friend too.
And I'm the nice one of the group. Well, Nick's pretty nice.
I'm pretty
too.
nice. Thank you.
What did you say about me before we started recording this podcast?
I don't remember.
You said
If
do.
only I could time travel and go back and remember what I said.
She called me
callback.
kind. That's what it
There's
was.
no.
That doesn't sound
evidence.
right.
I feel like that's
That
an
does-
insult, calling someone kind.
You're so
Some kind of scumbag.
kind.
That's like what you tell someone when you don't have an actual compliment for them. You're like, you're very
They're very
kind. Yes,
kind.
you're very kind.
Well, I was going to have that written on my grave.
Tell us more about Thunder McScruggins.
As part
Andrew
of
Carlson.
his plea deal, Thunder McScruggins,
no.
Yep, that's what we're calling him.
and as proof of his time-traveling story, Carlson also offered the FBI a couple bits of future trivia, but nothing too outlandish, just the location of Bin Laden and the casual cure for AIDS.
The casual cure for AIDS.
What makes this mystery even more mysterious is the fact that there is no record of an Andrew Carlson before he showed up on Greedy Street. His fingerprints were not on record, and best bit of all is that Andrew Carlson was never seen again because his bail was set at the princely sum of $1 million, and an unknown benefactor paid this anonymously. Unlike Kaiser Soze, he's gone.
This one, I'm actually like, my eyes got really wide while you were talking about
is
all
nice.
these details. This one's good. The others, bullshit.
There's some
This
problems.
one's pretty good. Are you about to punch holes in my dream of this
Yeah.
man being an actual time traveler?
Yeah, I am. I think if you are caught by the police doing 126 high-risk trades and never losing once and making like the same amount of money as, frankly, a small town, maybe say you're from the future because you might get off on an insanity deal. That's my first thing.
All right.
Second thing,
But he didn't. He disappeared.
poof.
Pull the old McScruggins dash.
Old
you know,
McScruggin's dash.
that's what we call it now.
So, the thing is, there's a few difficult things. There's a few difficulties in pinpointing where this story started, and who this person was, and whether this was real, and all that kind of
It's
stuff.
not real, but yeah.
Well, it's not real, of course. But yeah, I like this one.
It might be real. I don't know. This one I'm willing to entertain the
This
notion.
is the hill you're gonna die on. Time traveling McScruggins.
Yeah,
No, I'm not going to call him McScruggins.
his name. That's his name. That's his God-given name.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
That's
is.
his Nick given
Nope.
name.
Nope. Am I
Well,
God?
This is
that
the
what we're getting
one
at?
that I think feels like the least amount of bullshit.
If I was duping Wall Street out of that much money and doing some insider trading, I would definitely say, oh, I'm a time traveler.
But they didn't find evidence of him actually doing insider trading, right?
That's true.
And then he disappeared, and there was no record of him beforehand?
All right, we'll give Andrew Carlson a pass. We'll say maybe.
Matthew believes in Bigfoot. I believe that Andrew Carlson is a time traveler.
I think Andrew Carlson was on a massive amount of cocaine.
I cannot tell you the power of cocaine.
And I think he's made all this stuff up, and then he probably had a rich friend, and then he just disappeared.
You know who I bet his rich friend is who helped him disappear?
Lightning McScraggles.
I think
You're a close personal hero friend.
I think it might be D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper.
He's got the money.
Paula was doing a face where I knew the next words out of her mouth were going to be D.B. Cooper.
Honestly, that I believe in. I believe that.
The last story involves someone we all might know. Baron Trump, son of President Trump.
Wait, what? Baron Trump is a time traveler?
Not quite, but I don't know whether you're familiar with him. There is a book written in 1893. A date closer to the Civil War than it is to World War II.
Good maths.
In this book, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, a book which certainly has many occult overtones, but no more than other fantastic expedition books from the time that were popular, such as Governor's Travels and that kind of thing. This book, the details contained in this book, do have some weird, coincidental comparisons, or rather, I'd mostly put down to synchronicity.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm ready. What are they?
In this book, which may have been written by a time traveller, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it definitely wasn't.
For this being a podcast where Matthew's like, I have this crazy story I want to tell you, I actually feel like you don't. You spend most of it being like, this isn't true.
It's true.
This isn't true. In this book, Baron Trump, the main character, who does look a lot like our very own loved Baron Trump.
Universally.
Yeah.
The journey starts in Russia.
Of course it does.
There's a dog that looks just like Mike Pence's dog, which is pretty weird. I don't know if I wasn't at that. You've touched me. I was doing a gesture.
Matthew was reaching out. I feel like you wanted to hold hands.
Was not. And who guides Baron on his adventure? Who's his mentor? No, none of them.
Don Jr.
Ivanka?
No, but there's a man called Don.
Is it really all in a book that...
Perhaps short for Donald.
In a book written in 1893?
Yeah. But it gets more weird. Because in 1896, the author Ingersoll Lockwood writes another book called The Last President, a book about a wealthy man who lives on Fifth Avenue who, against the odds, becomes president, even though he was much hated. And when this man becomes president, he signs a bunch of orders. He hires a man called LaFay Pence to work in his cabinet. But wait!
Aw, you're making this up.
No, you can check this one out. But wait, there's more.
Wow.
In the real world, before Nikola Tesla died, he invented a time machine. Some say.
Yeah.
All his documents were seized upon his death by the government, who obtained these notes, these ideas, these world-changing, nay, world-shaping inventions. And who took those notes? Who got them? Oh, yeah, John Trump, grandfather of Donald Trump, great-grandfather of Baron Trump.
I love getting to watch Matthew have a freak out in person.
It's nice. It's really great.
So I'm horrified by this. What a crazy coincidence.
That is a crazy coincidence.
That whole thing about John Trump getting Nikola Tesla's all that
true.
stuff. That's true.
That is, I don't know. Maybe they are time travelers. That
makes
is
sense.
a lot of coincidences.
Maybe that hair is going to be huge in like 2146, and that's why Trump keeps
Maybe
keeping
his
it.
hair looks like that because he's done a lot of time travel, and that has an effect on you. You know, like chemo or something.
I was expecting you to use the word coinkydink, and I don't know why.
I would never say that
I
word.
would say that word.
I
so
would.
You should have expected that from me for sure.
So,
It's a quinky dink.
I've got something to tell you,
That you were lying about all that?
and I think this might be the best time to do that. Nick,
Yes.
Paula,
Are you going to say you're a time traveler?
this is going to come to a shock. But I'm a time traveler. And this is what the future holds. My name, my real name, is Bastian Cole. I was
The way
born.
you looked at us is so clear. Like, I spent a long time thinking of this name.
I was born in the year 2122, and I'm a motherfucking time traveler. I studied your language and your dialect in order to communicate with you in a way that will hopefully you will recognise guac begonia. I travelled to your time using what you call in your time a Honda Accord. But to me, my government and my mission, the craft in which I travelled is known by its code name, Alan. Alan the Time Machine. Alan, or Advanced Linear Aviation Nexus, is a time machine that operates by folding time-space through a micro-singularity that tears the vibrational construct of the fabric of reality, for lack of an analogy that, frankly, your childlike minds could comprehend. Also, something to do with lasers.
Are you the
Yep.
Doctor? I'm going to make so many Doctor Who references.
I'm all for it.
You are British.
I am.
And a bit... You're on one hand, you want to push people away, but on the other hand, you're so lonely and you just want to connect to them. Oh my gosh.
That's true.
Matthew Jude is the Doctor.
I've been sent to 2019 with both a warning and a message of hope, Paula. In my time, we have merely survived in the last 100 years. Nuclear winter has come and it's gone. The world of mankind is not as you would understand. And also, everything floats. It's made out of glass. And you can marry a robot. Pollution has killed life in the seas, with only minor pockets of marine life surviving. This created air pollution that forced many underground to live in what we call skunk holes, on account that the only other mammal that survived was skunks. But
You can't be pleased with what you wrote if you're trying to make this character believable.
Fortunately, we were able to clone plant life from Antarctic ice core samples to repopulate the ocean with the basic ingredients needed to filter out CO2. Only now, kelp makes up 80% of the Earth's surface, and we worship it. Politicians have come and they have gone. The good, the bad, the terrible, the hopeful, and of course, we change them much like you. Once a year, depending on how many likes an anonymous close-up picture of their junk gets on social media. War is a thing of the past, but we are now much more passive-aggressive, which is a really good idea. We can live in excess. We can live in excess of 150 years, but we do euthanize everyone at the age of 40 when they stop understanding how new phones work. Russia and China merged to become a mega country in much the same way that the US and Canada did after the Treaty of West Park, sponsored by Verizon. And the world language is Esperanto, which, let's face it, none of us were expecting. Food is plentiful, everyone is famous, and face-to-face communication died out in 2022, so there's that to look forward to. We landed on Mars and have searched the solar system. We found bacteria on Europa, proving life to be possible on other planets. The bacteria, in fact, has a shared genome with Earthling DNA, proving the existence of panspermia. There is a colony on the moon who are jerks. And the first manned mission in a half-light ship is destined to leave our solar system in 4 years. It's called the Enterprise, and no one gets it. My point is, it is not particularly difficult to write a vague, pseudo-astrological sign, palm-reading, panhandery kind of time travel thing about the future.
Wait, were you just lying to us right now?
Are you not Thunder McScruggins?
I am Thunder McScruggins. I'm here to save you.
Just when I was getting over my trust issues.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go and you tell that kind of a lie, and now how am I supposed to move on with the rest of this podcast?
I don't want anyone to trust me. I'm dangerous.
Just like the Doctor.
So that's it. That's time travel. I believe in time travel. I fundamentally believe it should be possible. And just the fact of human evolution and the way the universe works should mean that eventually we manage to master time travel in some way, shape, or form. I do not believe anybody on YouTube.
I'll agree with that. I think someday it's possible, but I don't believe any of those people.
Although I do believe in alien abduction sometimes. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Andrew Carlson, I think.
No.
Maybe.
Best hope.
Best hope.
That was probably the best of them, but I
Yeah.
don't believe any of it, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Death by Monsters. What do I do at the end? I forgot how these work. We've got an Instagram. Paula, you're all over
We do
it.
have an Instagram, Death by Monsters podcast on Instagram.
Nailing
Come
it.
and join us there. We post fun little quotes and pictures sometimes of when we all
True.
get together, and
There's
all
art
sorts
on
of
there.
stuff. We got some, Matthew doesn't like this word, but fan art.
I do hate it, but yes.
Yes.
We have some art that some wonderful listeners have made for us that we're starting to post on our Instagram. So check that out because it's super cool.
It's the coolest thing ever.
My mind is just staying blown at this point.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty fantastic. And
Thank
I
you.
posted a few pictures today.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, someone posted to the Death by Monsters Instagram and it wasn't me.
Michael
Hacked. And I was
Lee
like, oh, no,
Murphy,
Matthew.
brother to Nicholas Murphy,
It's
gave
true.
me a photograph to use, which is great. We're on Twitter, DeathXMonsters.
Yes,
Get it?
indeed.
Bye. Get it? It's fun. Send your home strange stories to deathbymonsterspodcast@gmail.com if anything weird ever happened to you. Did you ever get attacked by a pack of rats?
Yeah.
I want to hear about it.
Or some underground skunks.
Ever been in a skunk hole? Want to talk about it?
Well, talk to us.
Talk to us
I
about
wanna
it.
know.
We'll listen.
I want to know.
In fact, specifically, any skunk-related stories.
Yeah, if you have a skunk, especially if it's like paranormal skunks, please write in. I want to know about that.
Apparently, they make excellent pets.
They do.
I've seen a video of someone's pet skunk, but I can't endorse
I would be
it.
scared of them. They're very, very loyal, very good pets, apparently. But yeah, I'd be scared all the time.
Well,
You know what else is very good and very loyal? You, our listeners. Thank you. Spread the word. If you
Kill
are
me.
enjoying this podcast, just tell one friend.
Yep.
That would be amazing. Hey, thank you for listening.
yeah, thank you.
Bye.
See ya.